I've had a few comments about people wanting to see an updated service truck tour. So this will be the third one of the year just because I got that new truck when I worked for the construction company. Then when I worked for Joe, I got the truck. So hopefully this will be the last one of the year because it is November. But it's a 2015 F550. It is the higher trim level, I guess. It has electric windows and electric door locks, as the last 2015 I had did not have any of that. So I guess it's a higher trim level. I don't know, the radio and stuff doesn't work, but whatever, it's not that big of a deal. And then it's a nap hide bed with, I guess some people call these plumber's beds, but like these compartments open. And actually I kind of like these compartments opening. I'll show you how I got it set up here in a little bit. And then it does have a 3,200 pound crane, which is a little small. It does not have outriggers either, but everything I've needed to lift, it's lifted. So I haven't really noticed an issue, but hopefully I'll get a new truck next year. Not really sure, but let's turn the camera on here and I will show you the tour. A lot of stuff's changed. I've gotten quite a few new things, reorganized it a whole lot since then. So the cab, I mean, it's cab. I'm not going to show a lot of stuff in here, but I do have the trauma kit. I've shown this in a video before, but this is here. And then this truck does have a laptop mount, which I like a lot. And especially being at a dealer now, I use the laptop like way more than I used to. And I just did this recently here. This is the same 12-volt charger that I always had, but I made this little piece of wood and it just kind of sits out of the way. And you could still open the center console and it clears it. And then that's just internet. And then I keep actually we'll go around to that side later. I'm assuming somebody hit this because if you notice that the decal's missing. So it was like that when I got it, so I don't know. But I just got some pictures here. And then when I worked for Joe, it had the 2 magnet rails on the door, and I really liked that, so I put all the ratchets. I bought these at Harbor Freight. They were like $6 or $7, and I got a bunch of them. So I just screwed them on. And 2 of these doors are, you can screw stuff to them. As when I worked at the construction company, you couldn't screw stuff to the doors because it was that thin piece of aluminum. So all the ratchets are here. I have the crow's foots here, and then this is a torque adapter. Got some extra little help here. And then there is some issues with just space. So above the toolbox, I kind of got some like random stuff. I got all the measuring tools, my tape measures, my calipers are in here. Some different fittings. Let's see if I can squeeze this in here. Some different fittings. This is this is a cat turning tool. This is my Deere turning tool, pin tools. There's a 9-liter pin tool here, fuel pump pin tool. And then these snap to connect. Cat uses them, Deere uses them. I think Case even uses them. Little snap to connect. This is the most common one, 6 and 8. Have that in here. Let's see what else. I have my battery testers in here. My snap-on battery kit is here. Now that I don't work at the construction company, I actually don't do batteries that much, man. I did 2 or 3 of those a week over there. And then the battery grippers back there. Top drawer is all the handle tools. So the longer pry bars wouldn't fit in here, but pry bars, screwdrivers, basically anything with the handles in here. The brake tools, picks, some bigger picks, smaller picks, trim tools, just kind of, anything with a handle is basically in there. Next drawer down is pliers. I keep my crescent wrenches with my pliers. Some people don't do that, but I do. So this is basically pliers and crescent wrenches. Basically anything that's like pliers, these aren't really technically pliers, but hose cutting tools. These are in here. Vice grips are in here. This is a chain wrench from Harbor Freight. Basically that, all pliers and stuff. Okay, the next drawer down, this is standard wrenches. So since these drawers are kind of divided different, there's no like dividers in these. I decided to go back to these plastic wrench rails. I have a piece and I'll show you. So basically 1/4 inch all the way to 1 1/16 is in here. I never had a 5/16 regular wrench, but when I laid it out, I left it just in case I ever wanted to get one. And then the ratchet wrenches are here, and then the angle wrenches are here. And this goes to, I put all the angle wrenches here to 1 3/8 just because the way that it fits. And I haven't noticed being in a truck any of this kind of moving around. Like sometimes every once in a while these smaller ones will bounce out like that, but it's not really that bad. So you can buy them from Snap-on, you can buy them from Amazon, but it's basically a 24 inches long, and you just cut them to whatever length you want. They're like $17.99 on eBay, or not on eBay, excuse me, on Amazon, but they're like $22 on the Snap-on truck. So some of them I got from Snap-on, some of them I got from Amazon. It just depends, but they're not that much different price difference. So then one more drawer down is basically the metric drawer, and it's the same setup, 8 to 21. There's no 20. And then the only metric angle wrench that wouldn't fit was the 30, so I just kind of left it there. And then the metric ratchet wrenches, the metric angle wrenches, these are all Icon, except for this one's a Capri. And then that long zero offset wrench, I've talked about this a lot before, but it's just a Capri 1315. This thing is super handy, turbos and stuff. And I'm slowly switching these. These are the Husky ratchet wrenches. They've lasted, I've actually probably had these maybe 15 years now, but they've slowly kind of started breaking. The 13 just broke a couple weeks ago, so I've been updating them to the Snap-on. Their Snap-on wrenches are about 50 bucks a piece, but if you buy one every year, it's not that bad. So I'm kind of updating them just because you can get the Husky ones warranted, but I don't know, it's kind of a pain in the butt to get them warranted. So, and they're a little different, so I've just been updating them. But basically 17, 15, and the 13 are Snap-on, and then the next one to go is probably the 10 because they start skipping teeth. All right, so one more drawer down. This is 1/4 inch and 3/8. It's kind of a mess just because there's not a lot of room. So the E-Torques are still here. This is the deep 1/4 inch set, and then I think this is the standard Icon set, and then this is the metric Icon set. Yes, and then metric ball Allen's short 1/4 inch. There's some spark plug sockets. Working at John Deere green stuff, I work on gators and sometimes little lawnmowers now, so I'm actually using these spark plugs a little bit more. And then the RBRT, this is a 14 and a 12. The Icon, I'm not sure if I ever mentioned this, but I got this Icon set of 1/4 inch extensions, and I actually quite like it pretty well. This is gray pneumatic 12 point. I've actually used this quite a bit recently. Those Astro knockoff Huskies extensions are down here. And then these are Matco swivels, 3/8 drive, and then this is my standard set of semi-deeps from Snap-on. The turbo boot sockets, which actually they just came back out with these. They discontinued these for a long time, but they did come back out with these. And then these are long metric ball Allens, and then that's the SunX torque adapter set. And then I got some Power Stroke fuel line sockets back here too. And then these are tap sockets. Certified Wrench actually gave those to me, so I wonder if that guy's still alive. Haven't heard from him in a while. Down one more drawer. This is 1/2 inch and 3/4 drawer. These are the Matco driveline sockets. And then just basically it's all the same stuff I kind of had. 3/4. I think it goes to 2.5 inch. So I think this is a 2.5 inch. Yes. And then I think it skips some of the metric stuff, but I think the biggest metric socket I have is 50. No, that's not it. I'm not sure where it's at, but it's 50 millimeter, I think. This is a 41. Yeah, it's a 41. I bought that for something. And then this is a 50. I don't know why I bought that 50, but I bought that for something. So metric skips around a lot more, but basically everything's covered in here. And then 12 point. These are 12 point. These are just the Pittsburgh. They're deep metrics. And then basically all these sets here are Pittsburgh. And then this set is the Castleman. And then this was the Pittsburgh, like I had the Pittsburgh Chrome set, but basically I've replaced everything with Impact except for there's like 3 left. And as I break these, I replace them with Impact. Some of these are SunX, some of these are, I think there's one gray pneumatic. So basically I just kind of replace them as I need to. And then just some other bigger sockets in here. Got a brake caging socket, which I don't use anymore really. And then the bottom drawer, hammers. I just kind of reorganized this on Friday, but hammers. Still got this is the big sludge that I cut, and then I got the big Snap-on, the 56 inch. I think that's it. These are Icon dead blows. This brass hammer that I found, nobody claimed, so that. Just got some of the big punches. My air hammer's down here. Picked up one of these. It's the air hammer, but it's the flat, you know. And then on the side I still got the stool here, the little fishing stool. I keep that sometimes. This is just extra wrench rail, and then here's another one of those magnet bars. I had an extra one, so I just stuck it there. This is a tool that I made a long time ago for checking for on the John Deere axles. You can check to see if the brake seals are leaking. And then this is just -4 JIC hose for my nitrogen charging kit. It's if you ever put wedge lock couplers on, it's just an extra one. They always send you a bunch of extra hoses, so that's all that is. The next box over, let me just move the kids' toys here. Next box over, I got the little magnet thing here, magnet bowl. Put the rags in here. This is it's like a Coke thing. I don't know. I found it. All my spray stuff is in here. This is actually the thing that goes in my ice chest, but I keep all the little like Loctite, all that little stuff in here. Rags are in here. My O-ring kit's right there. Milwaukee pump is in here, which I need to get different hoses for this because I don't know. I don't really like the way I have these hoses set up. And then this is just a Pittsburgh AC vacuum pump. And then my grease gun is down there. This is soapy water. And then this is this little kit with all my like funnels. There's some drain hoses. Sometimes like there's a petcock and you need a hose. So here's the hose, a bunch of different size hoses. There's that pan I got when I worked for Joe for like a drain pan. There's another little drain pan. Bunch of stuff. Hi, you're okay. So let me open this top here and I'll show you this. Watch out, Henry. Okay. Also, that's the air reel. It's kind of mounted like that, but it was just the easiest way. And I just reach over and grab it. It's not that bad. But then there's a latch right here that opens this up. And then up here, I keep hold on. There we go. The 1/2-inch Milwaukee's in here. My 3/4 Mac gun is in here. This is air. Actually, it's like one of the only air tools that I have left besides blowguns. All the Milwaukee stuff is in here. I did recently pick up the right angle impact. Man, I don't know how I live without this thing. This thing gets used almost as much as the ratchet does. This is the regular Milwaukee charger with the 120 volts. I don't really use that, but sometimes when you're in the shop and you got a bunch of batteries or something, that'll work. And then if I just step over here, I got basically all the long stuff is here. So there's a yardstick for measuring tracks. This is a piece of pipe that I think I've mentioned, but I found that it's from a excavator. It's like the tubes, the hard lines that go up the boom. There's a bunch in the scrap bin, so I just cut a piece of it. Then my long snap-on, or this is my snap-on ratchet. Well, it's a Williams ratchet head, but it's the 3/4 ratchet, you know, with the snap-on handle. It's the one I had to have custom made. And then the Pittsburgh crescent wrench, my wrench extender. All my 3/4 extensions are in here just because it's where they fit. My long 1/2-inch ratchet, hopefully you can see that. And then pickup tool, the longer pry bar, you know, basically all that kind of stuff there. Now, what's that, Henry?
Yeah, but what can I say?
You're okay. Oh, we can close this. Watch your fingers. Watch your fingers. Fingers. There you go. Okay, so then now in here, this over the wheel, I keep the Mac pad in here. Just it seems to fit right there pretty nicely. And there's 2 drawers in here, so I have the blowguns here. I'm not really the biggest fan of that, but it's the only place I could really find that they would fit okay. So blowguns are there. I made this rail for these metric wrenches. This goes up to 50, but it skips a whole bunch of sizes. I made this out of wood. I wanted to do it for the standard wrenches, but this thing took me like 4 hours to make this little thing, which it works and I like it, but it was just way too much work. So I decided not to do that. So I found this, my father-in-law gave me this idea. He's like, just put a piece of wood and keep them all together. And it works, keeps them. The problem that I had is I just had the wrenches here and they would slide all around. So the metrics and the standard would be all mixed in. So I decided to do that and it works. And then these are the Bonnie wrenches, some people call them, or big wrenches. It's, you know, they go big sizes. It goes to 1 5/8". This is just the Pittsburgh set. I've had that thing forever. 1 5/8 that I made, modified. I think I made this for like a 350 excavator for the rotary manifold lines. So then down below, this just kind of fits in here like this. And then this one, if you open, thread restore set from Mac. I mean, Lang, everybody basically makes one of these. This is the silver and Deming bits from Northern Tool. They're kind of crappy, but I still keep them around. This is the piston ring compressor. It was in a Snap-on. I picked this up on eBay. I don't remember what brand. Oh, it's a Proto. I think it's a Proto, or is it a... I think it's a Cornwell. It's a Cornwell, but it's just in a Snap-on case. So I keep that. This is that long Mac bit set. Man, this thing is so handy. Use that thing all the time. Mac tap and die set, hole saw set. This is my 1/2-inch torque wrench, and then this is my 3/8 torque wrench. Let's see, is that? Yeah, that'll close. And then if we go down one, Snap-on 3/4 torque wrench. Ooh, somebody came to join. Let me slide this out of the way. And then that is the Mac RBRT torque set. That is my dial indicator, just the cheap one. That yellow box is a metric O-ring boss kit, basically. I got this from work. This I didn't purchase. And then this is the tire plug kit. Still have that. This is that cheap set of hex sockets that I refuse to take out of the truck because every time I think I'm going to take it out, I use one. So this is just a Chinese little set. What are you doing? Just a little Chinese set. They got kind of mixed up here. I'll have to fix that. But every time I want to take it out, I use one of them out of here. So that seems to stay. That is a refrigerant scale. And then let's come back one spot. This is kind of a mess because I've been working on that Cummins in that 9R. So there's a bunch of parts. That's what all this stuff is in here. And then this is a quadra gauge I got. It's the shop's, but I needed it for something, so I haven't returned it to the shop yet because I'm still using that. Extra parts, the Milwaukee boom lights in here, the paper towels, the gloves. I put the tray down here because it's really the only drawer, the only place it'll fit because it doesn't fit long ways. And then this is my air gun here. Did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. And in the bumper, we got the leads for the welder, the hammer, the big 12-pound hammer, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. Go in. The big pipe wrench is in here, the big mallet's in here, my 54-inch pry bar is in here, my other little pry bar's in here. What else in here? Oh, the long ratchet handles in here. I thought about getting some pipe and making like a little rack right here so that basically all the pry bars will sit right here and I can just grab them. But I didn't get to that point yet. That's what's in there. And then back here we have just a Lincoln engine-driven welder. It was on the shelf and they said, hey, go put that in your truck. So it just needed a fuel filter and I got it running. Just some other stuff here. This is a coolant jug that I washed out and I use it for washing my hands. There's a guy who used to work at the other John Deere dealer. His name's Manny. He actually still works there, but he gave me that idea, so I've used that forever. Creeper, short ladder, and then the soap. I've always just kind of done this, just zip tie it and it stays. Fire extinguisher. So then on this cabinet, I got the Daytona jack, the 22-ton air hydraulic jack. This is just an 8-ton Husky jack. The handles for them are in here. There's a roll of like cheap wrenches that are for like modifying stuff, like if you need to make a wrench or whatever. I think the cable come along is in here too somewhere. Yeah, you can't really see it, but it's back there. But one thing that I don't like about this truck, don't mind Grammy, but like I like the bumper where it's got this V channel for all the oil. But like if you look at the way the vise is, you can't turn this handle. Watch your fingers. Like, see, it gets in the way. So there's 3 other beds at the same company, and they all have plates, and the vices are actually mounted out here, so you can spin it. But for some reason, this one didn't get that. So, oh well. Okay, let me unlock this side, and I will show this side. One thing too is this truck does have the little locks here, which is nice. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so this cabinet here, again, this is a 3,200-pound crane. Yeah, it's not really that big, but everything I need to lift for it seems to work. It does have a spot for an outrigger, but I don't have it. And the other 2 guys that have the same trucks as these same beds don't have outriggers either, so I've never noticed an issue. Crane compartment, it has a battery down here that's auxiliary so that the crane will not work if the truck's not running, but I think this is just extra so you don't run the battery dead. But all my straps are in here. This is a bucket with all my lifting links and stuff, extra bolts for the lifting links. The Harbor Freight chain come along, which I thought was going to be kind of a piece of crap, and it actually worked out pretty well. And then the Vevor chain bridles in here, which again, I thought that was going to be kind of a piece of crap, but it works pretty good. So then, oh, you know what? I forgot there's another box over here. This opens. I forgot about that. This up here opens. So let me move that out of the way. Again, there's a handle right here, and then this opens up. I forgot. Okay. So I keep all the kind of the oil filter wrenches and stuff here. This is a box of tag outs. These are oil filter sockets. This is a 27 and then a 32 millimeter. They're basically for PACCAR engines, but I still keep them in here. It's a lockout kit. This is a John Deere filter wrench tool, which I'm also told this works on case, but I'm not sure. There's some Isuzu filter wrenches in here. And then I gotta close this really quick. Here, I can't reach that.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi.
Hi, Daddy. Hi, Daddy.
Guys.
So
Okay, so then over here, this is for injecting dye or oil. This is my feeler gauge kit. No, this is my steering wheel puller kit. The feeler gauge kit's in the same container, similar container. This is pipe taps and dies, bit set. This is that Mac puller set, or the like broken screw extractor set. Mac drill bits. These are those stud pullers, and then here's those like those little wrenches, you know, for like hex bits and stuff. These things, which I've shown before, that I needed for something and then I haven't used them. This they cleaned out an old service truck at work, so I kind of took all these boxes. They were throwing them away, so I took them. But it's got like all my small like left-hand drill bits. It's got those bung taps in there and stuff like that. This Sunex case is the case for the swivels, but it's got my double flare kit in here for like brake lines, and then it's got this little snap-on tubing bender that's in here. And then over here is just kind of junk, like there's batteries, there's twine, some dividers, knife, tape, that kind of stuff's all in there. Okay, back to the other side. Hi. So I showed that box already. This one over the wheel, it was actually set up the same way, where it had two of these drawers, but it just didn't work for me, so I took the other drawer out, which, oh well. So again, I said that they were cleaning out an old service truck, and this was another one of those boxes they threw in the garbage. So I took it, and then I put all my hydraulic testing stuff in here, gauges and all that. This is the bolt grip kit, Mac. This is my amp seal kit. So I decided to kind of change these kits a little bit. I made this the entire amp seal kit. Actually, it's kind of interesting. Let me show this. I made this the amp seal kit, and I put all the cat part numbers and as many of the John Deere part numbers as I could find, but it's basically all the different colors, and it's pretty full of old wire harness and stuff. There's still some that are missing, but I'll get to that. I'll fill this up over time. And then one of these is a weather pack kit, which is not this one. This is the Deutsch kit. This is that Delphi kit. So then this one must be the weather pack kit. This is an OIC from a machine that was bad, but it's not bad, but they replaced it anyway. So this is kept that testing. This is a controller. Damn, stop. This is a controller that's for testing. There was a pip on these for John Deere, and these are good for checking. Like if you have a bad controller, this will tell you if it's bad or not. I like to pack out stuff, but these are only like 20 bucks, and you can actually get more stuff in these than you can to pack out. So I have 3 of them. One of them I kind of messed up, but it still works. So one of them, this one's kind of electrical. I made for like electrical stuff. This is like extra bagged parts. Like sometimes you end up with extra parts or whatever. So like anything that's bagged with a part number goes in these. And then this one is like gaskets and O-rings. And then this one is hardware. So that's kind of the way I have that one set up. And then this is that Cornwell gauge set, AC gauge set. The Icon serpentine belt tool is still here. And then the die grinder kit. One of these is a fuel system kit. This is the transducer kit for like if you got to I've shown this before, like for changing hydraulic hoses, or you can put it on a fuel tank or whatever. This would be the fuel system kit, and then this is that Icon kit that I got, the puller kit. So then one more back here, I have the snap-on organizer in here. So basically this is like, some of this is miscellaneous electrical, but stuff that's not bagged or anything, rivets, all that kind of stuff. DOT fittings, I kind of made that. I don't really use this much anymore, but I figured you never know when you need that. Zip ties, bulbs and fuses, and then this is all electrical ends. This is that JIC O-ring face kit that company sent to me, so I have been using this quite a bit. Cat blue plug kit, which had that forever. And then these are those little 6.5 quart totes from Home Depot. So this one's wiring. This one is like extra pipe fittings and hydraulic fittings, and this one's like extra parts that are just extra that don't have bags or anything. O-ring kit from when I worked in Texas. And then this is a DEF refractometer. And then these are the pack outs. One of these is O-ring face and one of these is JIC. I don't remember which one's which. So I did put these two hoses on this truck, a 1/2-inch air hose, and then I put the torch rolls, which I got stuck in an orchard and this thing got pulled out somehow, and that's why it's all dragged up. But then on this side, we have the pack out first aid kit, and I've kind of made this a lot better than it used to be. Like I put a lot of stuff in it. The pack out fan, the NOCO box is back there. That's my cat. It's like just a light, but you use it for testing. These are those, I always forget what these are called, but they're like, they're the terminals, test. I can never remember what you call these. Like they're like back spoons or whatever. These are called something, and I cannot ever remember what they're called. But they got like the little ends on them. Got that kit. So then I still got the 2 pack out trays. This one is the wiring like repair tray, and the one underneath it is the wiring like multimeter and all that kind of stuff. Down below, this is welding like gloves and stuff. The Ryobi grinder's still in here. Welding helmet. The Milwaukee grinder, drill, all the torch stuff, some other stuff. And then down here, this is my breakout kit set. It's like standalone programming harnesses. And then one of these is a cooling system pressure tester. One of these is a vacuum Venturi refiller. One of these is the large cooling system adapters. I don't remember which one's which. And then this is the rest of the nitrogen charge kit. And then I have the 2000 watt inverter, which I could run a grinder off of this. You can run microwaves off of these if you need to. But there's that. And then back on this side, I said I would show the inside of it. So I keep the pack out cooler inside because these like to yellow really bad. So I like to keep it out of the UV at least a little bit. I picked this up actually just yesterday. It's an old milk crate that's metal, but I got all my books and stuff in here, and then I put my flashlight in there.
Like, subscribe, comment down below, and watch more videos.